Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. You know, my name's Chad. Take a dive into sports. Then here's my week 2 preview video of the college bowl season. This is going to be another games between the 23rd of December out to the 29th. So you get those Christmas games in perspective. Technically, I would really done this video the next day, kind of let you know the recap how I did the previous week. But because of how the NFL kind of played out, it kind of messed up my schedule and flow a little bit. So I'm kind of doing my my week a day early. And looking at so far of the last week's bowls, so far I went 7-2. There's still 3 more games to kind of correlate for that first week. So not too bad. I actually called that UAB upset over BYU, and Utah State win over Oregon State. So so we see how we kind of do with these ones. Once again, I give you like a stretch of bowl games, give a little snippet, history, the matchups, and who I think is going to win out. So before we dive in this one, let's go a little thing. If you could, especially like these videos, go ahead and smash that thumbs up for me. It pleases YouTube gods, helps promote this channel out. While you're there, you can also subscribe. I'll check my analytics. I have a lot of you guys viewing my work, and I love you all for doing that. Not many of you subscribe. Doesn't cost you a dime and helps me provide more entertainment for you. So let's go ahead and just dive right in and kick off these next second week of bowl action with the December 23rd matchup of the Frisco Football Classic. A second game in Frisco, Texas. This one's kind of a replacement for the now defunct San Francisco Bowl. Doesn't look like that bowl game's coming back anytime soon. So it's kind of I'm not sure where this is going to go in terms of this one. And there was also a bowl game to kind of accommodate more teams to be added into the bowl mix as well. So you kind of got that one going in there. And this will feature the 6 teams of the North Texas Mean Green and the Miami Redhawks from the MAC. This is the first meeting between these two, which is, I think, kind of unique. And it's kind of how long these programs have been playing football, that these two have never faced off before. And North Texas, finished off strong at the end of the season. They had a horrible stretch where they lost 6 in a row. But when they knocked off perennial powers, or not perennial powers, but quality teams like UTEP and then the perennial power of UTSA, to kind of get them to that bowl season, everything's kind of flowing in the direction of the Mean Green right now. While Miami itself was trying to play for its chance at the MAC championship game, just kind of fell short against Kent State. So it's just, but they actually came back. They were trailing by 10 points in that game and came back, tied it up in the game overtime, and it fell short there again. So it's just one of those things where it's just inches, and this game of football is just inches determines of where you kind of go. So looking at aspect, right now it appears that Miami is favored by 3.5, and all the stars are kind of pointing towards Miami against Gabbard's over 2,400 yards, 24 touchdowns passing, and his favorite target Sorensen has almost 1,300 yards receiving with 10 TDs. But then North Texas has their star running back in Torrey with over 1,200 yards. 13 TDs, and just the way that North Texas has been playing, especially what they did against UTSA, this is something I can't not overlook, and I have to take North Texas in this matchup. Next on the docket is the Gasparilla Bowl. This would be the 13th edition of this bowl game in the Tampa Bay area. This originally started in St. Petersburg, playing at the Trop, until it got slid over into its current digs over there at Raymond James. And Gasparilla's kind of tie into the whole Buccaneer thing. So Makes perfect sense. And this will feature the 8-4 UCF Knights from the American and the 6-6 Florida Gators. Yeah, pretty much a bad season. And this is actually going to be the third all-time meeting between these two programs, and both times Florida has blown out UCF. Last time being 42-0 embarrassment in 2006. But both games were held at the Swamp. So now we're in neutral territory. And it's just one of these things that Central Florida started off strong. Things were looking the right direction. They got derailed early, losing to Louisville, and just kind of fell apart for them, losing Dylan Gabriel to a broken clavicle, kind of hamper some things for them as well. And then, injuries with Isaiah Bowser and defensive tackle Khalil Davis, wide receiver Jalen Robinson, linebacker Tatum Betham, center Corey Thornton. It was just decimated their front line, their starters, and so kind of hard to do any sustained momentum. But with Gus Malzahn, he has actually kind of did the thing of the next man up, and a lot of these got some quality wins. Your first one, Mikey Keene, took over as a starting quarterback, winning 6 of his 9 starts. So it kind of, put a lot of things on there and gave UCF some good momentum. And Florida's kind of backing into this bowl. I mean, they had that game against Florida State, which pretty much was almost like a playoff game themselves, as both schools had 5 wins. To figure out if you win it, you win it. You win it. But it wasn't enough to save Dan Mullen. He was fired before that game. So Greg Knox, helped guide that team to that victory against Florida, their in-state rival of the Seminoles. Billy Napier is going to be coming over from Louisiana, so going to see who can bring that Bayou magic over there in the Swamp. And then with defensive lineman Zachary Carter and wide receiver Jacob Copeland both deciding not to play in this game. And then Anthony Richardson, who's going to be missing this game due to injury. There's got a lot of things kind of going out, so that means Emory Jones is going to be your starter. But afterwards, he's entering the transfer portal. Right now, Florida's favored by 7.5. I think just because it's Florida, but and Emory Jones is a dual threat quarterback. He'll throw and he'll run, so the defense of UCF has their hands full. But the way Florida's played, I cannot really think that as them winning by 6.5. I really don't. I'm taking UCF in this one. I'm gonna have UCF win, but you definitely probably go there and take UCF for the points, because I don't think it'll be 6.5. But I think the Knights should knock off the Gators. Have themselves some Gator stew. Next up, we're going to do the 19th edition of the Hawaii Bowl. So we're going to head out to the Big Island and do with this one. And this is kind of like another home game for the University of Hawaii. The Mount West has a tie-in, but it's pretty much if Hawaii's bowl eligible, they stay there, unless they're going to like the New Year's Six games. That just kind of helps them out a little bit. And this will feature, of course, like I said, the Hawaii, who was 6-7, and then the Memphis Tigers, who are 6-6. This is actually the first time these two teams are facing, and that seems a little shocking for how long they've been playing college football. So I'm really surprised they haven't faced off before. Memphis also making their first appearance in the Hawaii Bowl. They've kind of struggled throughout the year. They've had that great win against Mississippi State, then get smacked around by UTSA. I mean, they do good, and then they fall down. They do good, they fall down. It's kind of hard to kind of figure out which version is going to show up. They had to beat Tulane to get bowl eligible at the end of the year, so you have that going for them. In Hawaii, unfortunately, you kind of had some. Just seems like be typical Hawaii season. They had before the last 2 games they were 4-7, so they had to win the last 2 games to get in. And we said knock out Colorado State and Wyoming. Colorado State wasn't an issue. Wyoming was a little bit better, more of a challenge due to Wyoming's status in the Mountain West, but they beat them both to get in there. So they make it and kind of play at home. They take on the Tigers. Right now, Memphis is favored by 5. And again, should be doing very good. He's over 3,300 yards passing, 25 TDs. But Hawaii's got a few weapons themselves you have to really worry about with Hunter in the backfield. And then Martyr being pretty much the primary target. But their offense numbers are not really there. So I think the Memphis defense should be able to contain these guys a bit. And I think Memphis should be able to knock off Hawaii. The current line now is 8.5. Memphis, I think it's more. I think it'll be more about the 5 range. So, but I'm taking Memphis to win the Hawaii Bowl. It was Christmas Day. We did head to Montgomery, Alabama, with the 8th edition of the Camellia Bowl. This is a matchup between Sunbelt and MAC schools. And this year features 7-5 Georgia State and 6-6 Ball State. This is the 3rd all-time meeting between these 2 programs. This is basically the rubber match to figure out who takes the series lead. Both these programs kind of stumbled throughout the season, winning, losing, winning, losing. And right now, Georgia State's up favored by 5.5 by the time of this video. You have Polite as your quarterback, well over 2,200 yards passing. Then Greg, your running back, almost 900 yards. So I think it's going to be a slow game between these 2, and I will go with, looking at my notes I have sitting over here, Georgia State in this one as well. Next up, deal with the 27th, and then we're going to head up to Detroit. The 7th edition of the Quick Lane Bowl up there in Detroit in Ford Field. This is kind of like a replacement, de facto replacement to the former Little Caesars Pizza Bowl. And this will feature, not only the Big Ten and the ACC, but the MAC has a little side note in here where they can get in if either or wasn't really available. But for some reason this year we'll get completely new teams, as we had the 7-5 Western Michigan Broncos hosting the 8-4 Nevada Wolfpack. And this is the first time these 2 schools are facing each other, which seems to be a reoccurring theme throughout these bowls, and I think that's really good. You get the first time matchups between these 2. Right now, Western Michigan is favored by 7. But you get strong right there with Nevada with over 401 yards passing, 36 touchdowns. Western Michigan's their star player is Tyler in the backfield, the 1,000-yard rusher, 9 TDs. You got Moore, who also receives a lot in the air with over 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. And this one, I had a hard time trying to figure out which one's going to go with. I'm going to go against the trend against this one. I think I'm going to go with Nevada, knocking off Western Michigan. But I can see this one go the other direction as well. So, but I'm taking Nevada. And then we'll head off to the Naval Academy, as it has the 13th edition of the Military Bowl. Those will feature the 6-6 Boston College and the 7-5 East Carolina. And once again, first matchup between these 2. And once again, very shocking that these 2 have faced off, especially there on the East Coast. It would be a little easier for these 2 to take matchup. So it's kind of a weird kind of things, how things kind of played out. And currently BC's favored by 3, but East Carolina's got Ehlers, the quarterback, 300 yards passing, 18 touchdowns. The running back's 1,100-yard rusher with 9. I think it's just too much pointing towards ECU. And I think that's probably going to end up biting them. BC is just should be a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, slightly. So I'm going to give the edge to Boston College, but I think it's going to be closer than 3. And then we head off to Tuesday, December 28th, where the number of bowls starts to pick up. And we'll start off with the Birmingham Bowl. This is the 15th edition out here of this particular bowl. And it'll feature the American runner-up, 11-2 Houston Cougars, taking on pretty much the home team, the 6-6 Auburn Tigers. And this is the 7th meeting all time between these two right now. The Auburn leads the series 5-1. It's just been a bad matchup between these two. And, you know, right now Auburn's favored by 2.5, and I'm not sure if I totally agree with that. Their offense is going to struggle. And it shows that it will struggle. But the defense is going to be the key for Auburn. I think it's going to be problematic. But Tunis is a very good quarterback. 3,200 yards, 28 touchdowns. But Bigsby is going to be the focal point of that Auburn offense. He has a 1,000-yard rusher. So it's, you know, these defenses will have things to concentrate on. Houston's more of an aerial threat. Auburn's more of a ground and pound. And we'll see which offense can outsmart the defense. But I am going to go probably with the upset, and I'm going to take Houston over Auburn. Now, if we head off to the First Responder Bowl out there in now in Dallas, Texas, and SMU campus for the 12th edition. This game used to be in the old Cotton Bowl. It kind of slid over. And this will feature the 9-3 Air Force Falcons and the 6-6 Louisville Cardinals. And believe it or not, first time meeting between these two. And, you know, right now, Louisville's favored by 1.5. I'm kind of shocked by that one, really. You know, Cunningham's a 2,700-yard passer with 18 touchdowns. And Air Force is a very good team. I mean, they will put up a fight. But I think that triple option that like I said, the Service Academy's run gives other schools fits because they're not used to dealing with that. It's kind of hard to figure out, you know, who you want to cover. And right now, Roberts is pretty much the leading rusher right now for the Falcons with over 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns. But I'm going to give this one to the Air Force. I got to give it to my brothers and have Air Force knock off Louisville. Next up, we'll have the 63rd annual game of the Liberty Bowl out there in Memphis, Tennessee. This year edition will feature the 6-6 Texas Tech and the 7-5 Mississippi State. This is the 8th all-time meeting between these two. And last time these two met was in 1970. And the Bulldogs lead the whole time series 4-2-1. Yeah, remember ties? Yeah, it used to be a thing in college football. This is the Bulldogs' 3rd appearance in Liberty Bowl. Last appearing in 2013. They won that one. And the previous one back in 2007. And this is going to actually be a kind of a revenge game for Mike Leach, who used to coach Texas Tech back in 2000, 2009. So I got to see how things kind of go from there. And this is the first time Texas Tech has made an appearance in this bowl. And also be led by interim head coach Sonny Cumbie, who used to be the starting quarterback for Texas Tech back in 2004. Well, he played for Leach, so there's a lot of little tidbits and whatnot kind of woven into this game. Like I said, Mississippi State was favored by 9.5. This will be Will Rogers' probably farewell game. 4,400 yards passer, 35 touchdowns. He's going to be missing one of his offensive tackles has opted out of this game to prepare for the draft. So kind of irks Mike Leach in that one a little bit, but that's what happens this time of year, especially if you're not in a playoff game or maybe New Year's Six Bowls. Players end up opting out to prepare for the draft. But anyways, I think it's going to be too much Mississippi State for Texas Tech to handle, and I see them come out on top on this one. Then we head out to San Diego for the 43rd edition of the Holiday Bowl. This is to be playing in Petco Park this year. So the previous home has been demolished to make way for a new stadium. And this will feature the 8-4 UCLA Bruins taking on the 9-3 NC State Wolfpack. This will be the third meeting between these two. UCLA has beaten the Wolfpack both times. But the last time that happened was 1960. First trip for the Wolfpack to the Holiday Bowl, and this is the second time UCLA went south. Last time they lost 2002 to the Baylor Bears. Now we know NC State had a very good season this year. Like I said, 9-3, 6-2 in conference. Ranked first in passes intercepted in their conference, second in passes had intercepted, red zone offense, time of possession, scoring defense categories. I mean, this is a potent team that Chip Kelly has prepared for. And then UCLA actually finished second in the Pac-12 South, tied with Arizona State. And right now, NC State's favored by 1, which I think is a little low for them. Right now, NC State's favored by 1. I think it's a little low for them. I really think they're going to give UCLA more than they can handle. But UCLA did after the earlier stumbles, came out strong at the end. So can't see that aspect. But this is the Wolfpack will be led by Leary as their on-field general, 3,400-yard passer, 35 touchdowns. And Sean Benet is going to be the big-time rusher for the Bruins. Have over 1,100 yards rusher, 13 TD. So it's going to be a pretty good matchup. And Bob will be going to Wolfpack. And I think it's going to be more than 1. And then we head out to Chase Field. And this is the 32nd edition of this bowl game. And this bowl game has had many names over the years. It actually started out as the Copper Bowl down in Tucson before moving up to the Phoenix metro area, and then bounced between Sun Devil Stadium and Chase Field, multiple iterations. And this year, it finally goes by the guaranteed rate, formerly known as the Chexit Bowl. That one's kind of moved out east. And this will feature the 6-6 West Virginia Mountaineers taking on the 8-4 Minnesota Golden Gophers. And you won't believe it. First time matchup between these two. Like I said, it's a reoccurring theme this postseason, so you get a lot of brand new matchups. And for as long as these two have really been playing, I mean, these schools have been playing football for a century, and they've never faced off. That's just ridiculous. And Minnesota had a very good SWAT coming in. I mean, they were right in the thick of it towards the end for that Big Ten West title. West Virginia, just kind of middle of the road, doing what they had to do. Doge was like a 2,900-yard passer for him, 19 TDs, so he's a big part. Brown, big-time rusher back there, 1,000 yards, 13 TDs. So that offense is going to be a very potent thing for the Gophers to try to stop. Right now, Minnesota's favored by 4.5. I think that's a little high, but I do give it to Minnesota to knock off West Virginia out there in the Valley of the Sun. Deal with the December 29th and the handful of bowl games here to kind of finish off this video. And we'll be heading out to the inaugural Fenway Bowl out there in the iconic ballpark up there in Boston. This will feature the 8-4 SMU Mustangs taking on the 6-6 Virginia Cavaliers. And another first-time matchup. between these two. And it's like I said, it's a recurring thing throughout this postseason. I keep saying the same thing. Right now, Virginia's favored by 2.5. With the strong arm of that offensive 4,400 plus yard passer with 31 touchdowns. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The aerial attack the Cavaliers have. It's their defense assess, and SMU should be enough to be able to find ways to pick apart that defense if they can hold off that aerial attack that Virginia has. I think I'll take SMU to knock off Virginia on this one. I'll probably get proven wrong, but I'm going to go in that direction. Well, if you're in Fenway Park, you got to go to Yankee Stadium, and we'll get our 11th edition of the Pinstripe Bowl. This year we'll feature the 6-6 Virginia Tech Hokies taking on the 6-6 Maryland Terrapins. And this is the 32nd meeting between these two programs. And you got to think that from 2004 to 2013, they used to be conference teammates. So until Maryland left for the Big Ten. And all time, the Terps have it a 16-15 advantage. So, and this one, with these two, right now, Maryland's favored by 3.5, led by Tagovailoa, 3,500 yards passer with 24 touchdowns. Blackshear is the focal point of rushing attack for the Hokies. But Tagovailoa is going to be the focal point of this Maryland attack, and he actually is very good, very steady, dual threat. He's also a runner, pretty much like the other Tagovailoa. And like I said, Maryland's favored by 3.5. Yeah, I think it's going to be like around that same point, but I'm going to give the edge to Virginia Tech on this one. I just have a feeling that Tech's going to find a way to interrupt and probably looked at some of the older matchups that he has faced. And next we head out to Orlando for the new location of the Chexit Bowl. This is the 32nd edition of the bowl game in Orlando. So it has gone by many names over the years, so they keep changing sponsors. And this year's going to feature the 7-5 Cyclones of Iowa State taking on the 9-3 Tigers of Clemson. And first time meeting with these two programs. Previous, Purdy's going to be the focal point of that Cyclone offense. 2,900-yard passer with 18 TDs. Hall, 1,400-yard rusher, 20 touchdowns. So this is a potent offense that's got to take on this stringent Clemson defense. And this is going to be the focal point of this game, is how well Clemson's defense is going to perform. If they can limit the offensive powerhouse that is Iowa State, Clemson should come out on top. And right now they're favored by 1, and I think it's going to be that dang close. And then to our last bowl game to cover on this week will be the 29th edition of the Alamo Bowl out there in San Antonio in the Alamo Dome. This year will feature the Pac-12 runner-up, 10-3 Oregon Ducks, taking on the number 3 team, the Big 12, the Oklahoma Sooners at 10-2. This will be a huge time matchup between these two programs. This will mark the 8th meeting of these two. And Oklahoma actually leads the series 6-1. Oregon's only win came in 2006 when they played host to Oklahoma. So, this is going to be a lot riding on this one. Link, really already left Oklahoma to go take over USC. So it's a new interim head coach Stoops taking over interim duties for the Sooners. Caleb Williams right there for the Sooners. Brown for Oregon, 2,600-yard passer. Right now, Oregon's favored by 4.5. And no, I don't see that happening. The way Oregon's played towards the end of the season, especially getting smacked around by Utah twice. Oklahoma has enough, could stifle that. But Oklahoma's defense is not as strong as the Utes. And the way Oregon's been kind of playing, like I said, the way Oregon's been playing, they've been shooting themselves in the foot a lot. So I'm not sure Oregon's going to be up to the task for this one. So I'm going to take Oklahoma. They continue their dominance over the Ducks and take this year's edition of the Alamo Bowl. Well, there you go. There's week 2 in the preview in the books for you. Some games out there, kind of see how things kind of play out. So, see if I can do a pretty good run. Like right now, I'm 7-2 for week 1. With still 3 games remaining, so not bad. And like I said, this would normally be a Wednesday, so hopefully next Wednesday I'll go back to my normal schedule. Yay. So make sure things are not, too screwed up. But, it is what it is. You just have to be, kind of go with the flow and to the changes and just, put your best foot forward. But let me know what you think of these upcoming bowls, which ones you're really looking forward to. I'm kind of looking forward to this second week, the Oregon-Oklahoma one. That should be a really good matchup. Of course, I'm going to try to watch that Air Force Louisville game. While you're there, you once again hit that thumbs up for me, helps me out. You go subscribe. Once you subscribe, hit that bell notification so you know next time I post a video. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.